Hey, what's going on, traders? Hey, so this is Manny over here. So this next class is actually going to be on the RSI. What is RSI? RSI is your relative strength index. Now, what your RSI tells you, it tells you a couple different things, right? A lot of people say it has a 70 and it has a 30. What those usually signify is when a stock is overbought, it's usually over 70, and when stocks are oversold, it's under 30. These are great times to actually kind of start nibbling at positions or start to reduce your position size as they get overbought and oversold. However, it's also a great way to understand that as it's gaining or losing strength, right? So what do I mean by that? So twofold, right? So obviously you can see it when a stock is pretty oversold underneath 30 here, and then it starts to go horizontal, and then we get a nice little bounce up, right, as the stock builds some strength and gets some good price action on a nice move up, right? Same thing when a stock moves up too far and gets kind of overbought over here, then it starts to look to lose some strength and come right back down, or actually have a pending pullback or so forth, right? So it's very important that you could understand that stocks move up, stocks move down, right? They gain strength, they gain momentum, and so forth. Now, just because a stock is overbought or oversold does not necessarily mean it won't continue in that trend, right? It just gives you an early indication of when you could look to start buying in, right? So, for instance, let's look at this right here, right? So as we're looking at right here in this specific time frame, when the stock got oversold, you see it got oversold right here on this particular candlestick here on January 22nd, 2022, was at the very low point of the actual RSI, where it hit at 21 on the RSI level. But yet, it still kind of bounced up, and then it went even lower. See, this price point here was at 2301.53, but yet this price point all the way down here was at 2144. So it went a little bit lower, right? So it still went another kind of 100 points lower, right? So, but yet it gained strength. So as you could see, it starts to give you some type of divergence, right? It gives you a bullish type of divergence. So as this goes down in price, but yet this bounces up and goes down and gives you a higher low, even as this gives you a lower low, it lets you know that it is gaining strength, right? And then it shoots up, the stock shoots up again, it pulls back again, right? Now the stock price here gives me a higher low from this low point, right? It gives me a higher low from this point to this point. At the same time, I get another higher low, right? So if I can make this a little bit bigger, as you can see, it shot up, pulled back, shot up, pulled back. Now I still got another higher low, still pretty oversold, but this is giving me indication that we're still gaining strength as it's holding the price level, as it's holding a support base, and we're gaining strength, looking for a potential reversal. So even if I would have took an entry point here, once it gave me that first higher low in the RSI, and then continue riding it up until both price action and RSI breaks trend, right? Now, what does it mean by when I say break trend is, if you notice, I was getting higher highs, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, right? Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. And now this gave me a lower low from here to here. And then as soon as it shot up again, it gave me another lower high from that point to that point. And this gave me a lower high. Right now I'm losing momentum. I'm losing some price action. I'm losing some strength, right? So it looked for some type of consolidation. So this would have been a good kind of exit plan over here, as this confirmed that I'm losing strength and I lost some price action all at the same time, right? And then same thing, it came right back down, found a good level of support base. As it's holding this support base, through every single time it dropped to this support base, look at this. This was giving me higher lows, right? Higher low, higher low. So every time it came back down and touched here and touched here, I was gaining strength from that bottom point. So it was telling me I was gaining strength there, I was gaining strength there. So every single time it gives me indication of a potential bullish divergence, right? It's giving me some bullish divergence, telling me that looking for a reversal on the way up, and that's exactly what it does, right? Now, once it breaks this trend here and give me a higher high and higher low, right, in this area right here, it continues to shoot up, right, and gain basically from $2,800, right, $2,500 all the way up to $3,500, which is basically almost what is that, about a 40% return on your investment, right? Now, what is a good time to sell, right? Okay, this has got overbought, right? This got overbought, but I'm still gaining higher highs and higher lows. And then see how it pulls back and it shoots up again. Now this gives me its first lower high from this point to this point. So now this is telling me, right? This is telling me from here to here, from this point to this point, now I am losing strength. I'm losing strength. And now if I understand price action and volume, not only am I losing strength, but look at this, buyers are starting to die down in this volume candlestick. So I lost buyers, so I'm losing buying pressure because the demand isn't there. And then this went, as it shot up, not only is it overbought, but it's losing buyers and it's losing strength at the same time. And then it's looking for another reversal to the downside. So this is a good way to really help you determine, as it's losing strength, as it's gaining strength, when to look into for entry on the way up. And when to actually start scaling out of your position or taking profits on the way down, right? Or you could use it as a shorting tool as well, right? And when to start shorting it, or when to start really going long and so forth, right? Now, one thing I do want you to realize is just because the stocks are overbought on the RSI level does not necessarily mean that you have to start closing your position, right? Because if you notice from this point right here at 2100, this point here at 2500, and all the way up here at 4000, I was still gaining higher highs along this process, right? So it pulled back, this low point was higher, right? Shot up, right? Pulled back, still kind of playing around there, holding the support base. So I look for confirmation because this never gave me a lower low in the price action. So just as what we were talking about over here, right? Not as I got a lower low in the price action and a lower high, right? As well as losing strength. So you want to look at that as a confirmation. Now this price action here, it held this level of support right here, right? It held that level of support, came up, went down. So I never got a lower low, right? As I'm still gaining higher highs, still getting higher lows, right? So I never got a lower low in that same fashion. So even though it is overbought above 70 on the RSI, doesn't mean I have to close out my position long as I'm still gaining and staying in this trend with my price action. So I'm looking for confirmation in both. I'm understanding volume and price action here, and as I'm still gaining strength to really determine if I want to scale out or keep my position, because that's a big difference. If I would have scaled out here at $2,000 versus $4,000, that's 100% return on investment. That's a huge difference. So like I said, I look for confirmation, just as this was over here in this fashion, or over here in this fashion. As soon as I got that lower low and lower highs, right, it's really, and I lost strength right here. It was that determining factor to close out that position or scale out of that position, because you notice right there how I received lower lows, lower highs. So this was in essence a downtrend, right? That in essence is a downtrend. But yet this one here, along this way, right, along this way here, I was still, from that low point to this low point to this low point, you could still see that I was still gaining higher lows. What is higher lows telling me? It is gaining buying pressure, right? It was gaining buying pressure, and the strength never really sold off. And then I continue running it up, pull back, right? From $3,000, $3,400, shot up again, right? Got overextended, overbought. It shot down, pulled up. Now this gave me that first lower high from that point to that point. Shot down. This gave me a lower low and a lower high. So I could have closed out my position right up here around 35 for a real confirmation, right? Because I lost strength in this. Gave me a lower high, gave me a lower low, gave me a lower high, gave me a lower low. So this, in essence, you look for confirmation of what you're seeing, understanding what is going on with price action, with volume, with the selling volume picking up and losing strength as far as buyers to the downside. So RSI, one of my favorite indicators to use. So you could use it in two fashions: how to kind of scale out of some of your positions that they're overbought, looking on that confirmation, and then how to kind of scale in as it's gaining strength, or even look to buy in as it's completely oversold.